Hey guys, welcome to Book Opinions. I'm Miss Linda, and you don't hate books. You're just bored. Let me tell y'all a story. So, from elementary school to about late middle school, I hated reading. Like, I would not and could not sit down and read a traditional book. I wouldn't do it. It was way too difficult. But I started going to the public library after school when I was in middle school. It was a small town with a small library, and there was not a lot to do. Yeah, you could get on the computers, but my eternal struggle has always been my short attention span. So I'd get on a computer, get on this newfangled site called Facebook, play a few online games, and watch Kelly's hit music video, Shoes, get off the computer, and then 10 minutes later, make a reservation to get back on, and do the whole thing over and over and over again. But everything changed when the Fire Nation attacked. I found a book, and I read it. Like, I checked it out, and I read it, and I was very invested in it. So this was a big deal, and it jump-started my friendship with reading. Now, did those struggles with keeping my attention, did they go away? No. I still have problems being invested in what I'm reading sometimes. But along the way, you pick up some tips. And when you work in a library and get to talk to other librarians, they also have some cool tips for you. So if you or someone you know struggles with sticking to a book, here are some ways that you can find a book that will keep you engaged. So first things first, you might want to do a genre hunt. If you're into sci-fi fantasy or thriller or realistic fiction, or you're super into reality and dig nonfiction, looking for books based on genre is a great way to start finding books for you. So say that I'm just looking in general fiction and I kind of want something that has sci-fi elements to it, but is also a little bit grounded in reality. I would probably pick one of my go-tos now, An Absolutely Remarkable Thing by Hank Green. Number 2, don't knock graphic novels. I feel like there's this almost presumed hierarchy of books with graphic novels sitting at the bottom and classics at the tippy top. But here's the thing. Graphic novel and graphic novel hybrids, which are just novels with some comic book elements gently folded into it, are great ways to get into reading. Heck, that's how I got into reading. My personal favorites are Castle Waiting and American-Born Chinese, which I will read until the spines of those books give out and the pages crumble into ash. There are a great number of graphic novels and hybrids you can choose from. Like, for example, a good hybrid that is super popular is Captain Underpants. The Flipperama is genius. It is innovative, and it was something I'd never seen before. And it's a great way to get people to interact with your book. You can also check out Diary of a Wimpy Kid and The Dork Diaries. I'm also going to add, don't knock novels that are told through verse or poetry. I mean, this stuff, it doesn't matter if they're long or they're short. The chapters are easy to read because they're told through verse. And this kind of plays into the next couple of tips as well. If you want to go full novel, whether it's told through poetry or not, you want to get something with short chapters. For me, if I have a book and the page count on a single chapter is like 15 pages or more, I tend not to finish the book. This isn't always true for all books I've read, because sometimes I just like to torture myself, but it's a big factor for me. If I want to finish a book, those chapters need to be short. You know that saying, never judge a book by its cover? Yeah, no, totally judge that book. Something with an eye-catching cover, an interesting title, and an easy-to-read font type is going to go over more than something that just looks boring. Let me show you an example. Here's 2 covers for Dune by Frank Herbert. And I'm going to go with the one that draws my attention, which is the one on the left, not the one on the right. Now, regardless, Dune is a big book, and it took me about 4 months to read it. But I enjoyed it because I love books that involve a lot of world building and have a large history within its mythos. So if you're into that and you want to work through Dune, definitely do it. You want to go with something that has a simple vocabulary and a familiar tone, which just means you may want to pick something that sounds like you. For example, I like Pride and Prejudice, but it takes some work to get through. And this is just for a book about family drama and some chicks trying to get hitched. And I think this is why so many classics are getting rewritten. Because, and you can at me for it, most of the classics are boring. Like, it's way easier to SparkNote something that was originally written in like the 1800s than to actually read it. Though I don't recommend doing that. Please don't send your English teachers after me. But if there is a book and the characters speak, or if the book is written in a language or tone or vernacular that is familiar to you, that sounds like how you talk, that's going to be a lot easier to get through. You can also check out some state awarded books. Most of those are picked by kids. So Arkansas has 3 state awards for books. The Arkansas Diamond Primary Book Award, that's for grades kindergarten through 3rd. The Arkansas Teen Book Award, obviously that's for teens. And the Charlie Mae Simons Children's Book Award, and that's for grades 4th, 5th, and 6th. And we also have a really nifty resource at CALS that you can access on our website called NoveList K-8. And I'm going to show you guys a tutorial on that in a second. You need a lot of line breaks. It's easier to get through the page if it isn't figuratively T-posing you by one whole paragraph making up that page, which is why textbooks for me are an issue. I mean, think about it. The language is often technical, and the subject matter is not put in words a regular putz like you and I can understand. And most of the time, the paragraphs, to quote the classic rock band Journey in their hit song Don't Stop Believin', go on and on and on and on. So let's move on to that NoveList tutorial. So something that you can do if you have an account with the Central Arkansas Library System is you can go to our website, cals.org, cals.org, and go to Research Tools. Then you'll go to Books. And we are going to scroll down to NoveList Plus K-8. There's also just NoveList Plus. Either way, you will be able to find books for kids kindergarten through high school. There's ages 0 through 8, ages 9 through 12, and teen. So we are going to look at the 9 through 12 group first. So teenagers, you'll have to wait until later in the video. And it'll give you options for things that you might be interested in. Fantasy and science fiction. So there are some authors here that you can look for, and there is realistic fiction, thrills and chills, so if you're into scary stuff, this would be for you, and even nonfiction. The stuff that I talked about earlier can apply to this as well. And then there's international. So let's say that I want to find something, Captain Underpants. And so what's really great about getting on NoveList through CALS is that you can see the number of copies available, and you can go to the catalog and place a copy on hold for yourself. Another great thing is that it has read-alikes, and these are going to be books that read similarly to Captain Underpants. So Big Nate, Lunch Lady, that's a really good series, Akisi, and this will tell you how many copies are available. So, for example, Frankie Pickle, there are 6 copies available, and you can put yourself on hold for one. Let's do a regular book. So, a book that doesn't have any pictures in it. Really popular book among kids who are just starting out to read is The Vampire's Assistant. This is going to be for kids who like scary books. So if you don't know about the Vampire's Assistant series, the first book in that saga is Cirque du Freak. It is about a kid who becomes a vampire and has very scary adventures. Personally, I've read this, and it does have those line breaks, and there's more action in it than those long descriptions that are going to make your eyes cross. And then over here, we've got the read-alikes for it. So this is another series that was pretty popular when the vampire craze was going on. And you can check the availability. And it says there are 2 of 3 copies available in First Kill. So you can go to the catalog and put yourself on hold for that. So, fantasy and science fiction, this is my go-to genre. So let's look at Sweet and Bitter Magic. Again, here are the read-alikes, and this tells you how many copies are available. So you're gonna go to Browse By, and you can do genre, appeal, award winners. Let's do an appeal search. There's a lot you can choose from. If you are wanting a writing style that is lyrical and engaging, there are some titles that you can choose from. Let's look at Esperanza Rising. And we have copies available, so you can put yourself on hold for that. And if you want something that is kind of like that as well, there are titles on the side. And okay, so Flight to Freedom, we don't own that. If Cal's doesn't have it, it'll tell you. Out of the Dust is also a popular story told in verse as well. All right, that is how you use NoveList, and that is how you find a book if you yourself are a bored reader. Just remember, you don't really hate books. It's the books that you read that are super, super boring. We'll see you next time for some more book opinions. And real quick before we go, I should be giving credit where credit is due. This idea was not an original idea that I had. I actually learned about board readers and how to engage them from Allie Stevens from the Calhoun County Library. She hosted an awesome workshop, and all the credit to you, Allie. Thanks.